Carlos Castaneda's The Art of Dreaming. Hello, this is Chris speaking, Shores of Infinity, with a video about the art of dreaming, both a book review about the book The Art of Dreaming and explaining what the art of dreaming really is, because there's probably, apart from the psychedelics part, the art of dreaming is the most misunderstood aspect of the teachings of Don Juan, which Carlos Castaneda wrote about. So first of all, the book itself is not necessarily worth reading. There are better books by Carlos Castaneda. For example, the first 3 books, culminating in the Journey to Ixtlan. That's really the best. While the Tensegrity book is the worst, and also the 2 Rings of Power books and the Art of Dreaming book, they're not so good because there's so much obscuring, nebulous distraction built in, and also wrong information, outright lies. So apart from Tensegrity, which is just total crap and fabrication, most of Carlos Castaneda's books have about a ratio of 80% truth and 20% bullshit. And the trick is to find out which is which. But the 2 Rings of Power books, and especially the Art of Dreaming book, the ratio is a little worse. For example, the story with the second group and the 3 women and so on, that's basically wrong. So much about the book. But the content, there's still a lot of good content in the Art of Dreaming, once you understand what the art of dreaming actually is. The art of dreaming is not lucid dreaming. It's not about bringing stuff from the dream world into the waking world or the other way around. That's not it. Also, the difficult part here is that it is not something that you can understand. The art of dreaming has nothing to do with your mind, with your logic. It's a matter of experience. Similar to the Vedas, Carlos Castaneda talks about what Don Juan explains to him about different kinds of realities. There's more than one kind of reality. In the Vedas, they also talk about 3 kinds of reality. In the Vedas, they're actually called 3 types of sleeping, 3 types of dreaming. So this is very similar to what Don Juan is talking about. I have referred to this previously in previous videos as the gross world, the subtle world, and the causal world. Carlos Castaneda calls it the day-to-day reality, a separate reality, and yet another one that can even be explained less, the spirit. Once you get to know these 3 worlds, by experience, you know that the usual world, the usual day-to-day world, the gross world, the world of hard things, is just one world. One of 3 or one of many. It's not the reality, it's a reality. It's not that the gross world, the world of physical things that seem to be concrete object, is wrong, but it's just only an aspect, only a part of the whole thing. It's not the whole thing. It's like talking about what's going on in an aquarium and then saying this is how it is in the ocean. No. When we talk about the gross world, we talk about an artificial and more or less closed system that we have invented collectively and agreed upon that this is all there is. Once you know, really know, not just think that this is not all there is, that there are other realities which are just as real, then everything becomes something like dreaming. Because then what is the difference between dreaming and waking? There is none. It's just definition. So the dream reality is not more or less true than this day-to-day physical, hard reality. Same with the subtle world and the causal world and other things. They also exist. They're not more or less true, but they're equally true. So you will say now probably, yes, but I know that this is not all. I know that there's a different reality. Okay, then you don't claim anymore that this reality is all there is. But you are probably still claiming, check it with yourself, you're probably still claiming, or part of you is still claiming inside yourself, that this gross, physical, hard reality is the main reality. And there may be others, but they're not as important. And this is exactly what is not true. They're all equally true or false or important or unimportant. This is not the main reality. This is just one of many. And to fully accept this, and then to treat this physical reality as if it were a dream, as if it were not more important, more valuable, more true than any other dream or other reality, that is the art of dreaming. In the Journey to Ixtlan, for example, Don Genaro, this other teacher, this friend of Don Juan, calls other people ghosts. Why does he call them ghosts? Because for them they're just fiction, they're just dream characters. Don Genaro knows that he is dreaming this reality, just as he's dreaming other realities, when and if he changes to other realities. So this art of dreaming is one of the most extreme teachings of Don Juan and Carlos Castaneda. Although Carlos Castaneda only wrote it down, and his books have this power because he was a very good writer, and his writing was his spiritual autolysis, like Jed's books also, and because he took notes and quotes Don Juan. So there must have been a deal between the real Carlos Castaneda and the real Don Juan, whoever he was, that he was allowed to write about these things to some degree and obscure the rest. But there's still a lot of really valuable stuff in there, and the art of dreaming is, it took me the longest to get it, what he meant with it. It's super easy to misunderstand in so many ways. And I can grok it now because I know from experience, I know for sure that there are other realities. If that's just a theory, then this knowledge about the art of dreaming also will remain a theory. But once you know that there's different realities, the whole thing will slip into another dimension. It will be much bigger. The whole thing suddenly makes sense. And the coolest thing is that the Vedas saw it exactly the same way. Exactly. And that is also why waking up is a good analogy in spirituality. Wake up. Waking up has happened. Meaning, you've woken up from the idea that there's only one reality and that you are in control of it. You're not. It's just like in a dream. It just happens and you can observe it. And you can do a few things. You can do a few tricks in there, but you're definitely not in control of it. A bit like in the movie The Matrix. So let this sit and sink and compare it with your experience. Don't try to understand it logically, or don't try to argue for or against it. It's really a matter of having experienced and perceived different realities. Because what we perceive, we know this in psychology too, what we perceive is definitely only a small part of what's happening. Our perception is altered by our culture, by our mind, by our emotions, by our sense organs, and so on. So there is actually no reason to rely on your perception. Thank you for joining me as a Patreon. Thank you to all my patrons. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Thank you for giving me a thumbs up here. Question reality, and see you soon.